All right, agents, welcome to this week's Vulcan 7 Masterclass Webinar. We are very excited. Here we welcome in the industry's leaders, brokers, influencers, and coaches all across the country. And today we have one who is coming in from internationally from Canada, who has been highly requested from agents to be able to help us be able to understand how to be able to really help persuade and improve our script and our tonality. So we have a lot of great things to be able to go over today. But before I bring him to the stage, if this is your first time here with Vulcan 7, welcome. Welcome being part of one of the industry's leading lead gen platform to be able to help you get contact information with a full CRM and platform for now business leads. If you are on the listing side of the business and you're looking for the best phone numbers, emails, contact information, and a CRM to be able to follow up with a dialing system, one of the best dialing systems, and whitelisted numbers to make sure that you can just, all you need to work on is being consistent and be able to hone your skills, look no further than joining us here. There's a QR code in the top right-hand corner that you can scan to be able to figure out the best package pricing for you. We are able to provide you with daily expires, your daily FSBOs, circle prospecting. We provide you with whitelisted numbers. So if you're someone who's like, I keep having to download my 10th Google Voice number, that's a thing of the past when you're with us. We're going to help make sure that you're able to stay on the phone and be able to make sure that your line is being received as a compliant, trusted business line that they can be able to track back to your preferred. And we have a ton of different great follow-up tools and training tools for you on our CRM with call recording, AI transcription, and we have a number of very exciting tools that we're rolling out here in this next year. So if you want to be able to be really confident for these really exciting tools that we are almost ready to announce, stick with us and talk to our support team and our sales team with those options here. But scan the QR code for more information related to that, or this QR code that I brought here. But now we're going to be able to welcome in our very, very special guest. He is been a long-time great friend of Vulcan 7 for a long time. He has been a master educator from Ontario, Canada. He is part of eXp Realty. He is AKA the closing machine, AKA king of skills. He has been able to transact and close over 3,000 plus listings on record throughout his career, as well as he has been at one point one of RE/MAX's top 100 agents and brokers in the world. He has trained hundreds and hundreds of agents on how to be able to hone in on persuasion, really become masterclass on NLP, which is neuro-linguistic persuasion. We're going to touch more immediately on that, so that'll be something to be able to learn about. But we have a ton of stuff to go over, and we're just going to run right into it. Make sure you have your pen. Make sure you have your notepad to be able to take as many notes as possible. And we have in the comments section, we already have comments running in. Well, great. Yes, Jay Hagan, this will be fire. Absolutely. It sounds like you have experience with Richard in the past, and Virginia, absolutely. So if you have questions, concerns, we're going to be able to do back and forth for the comments section. We're going to keep an eye on it. So make sure that announce who you are, where you're from, be able to network with like-minded agents here immediately, get some role-play partners, exchange referrals, whatever you do, make the comment section your personal networking opportunity. But enough about that. Let's welcome in our guest here today. Richard, how are you?
I'm doing terrific. Great to be here.
Great.
With Vulcan. You guys are doing a great job. So all I hear is great information about your company and also your data being so good, for agents that can prospect.
Absolutely. Well, you're one who has been able to be referred and referenced as someone who knows how to be able to use this kind of data to turn into closings and reach your financial goals. And you've been working with us for a number of years, being able to prove to agents, hey, look, building your pipeline by honing your skills and learning the art of persuasion is how to be able to close listings. And this is why everyone's tuning in, is to be able to learn more about that from you. But for people who don't really know much about you, could you give a little bit of a background and introduce a little bit who you are? And
yeah. So I was in sales since a very young age back in England in the markets with my dad. since 4 years old. 4 years old, my friends were playing football and soccer, you guys call it. And I'd be at the market, on the market selling stuff. So I've always had it in my blood to do it. And real estate seemed to be the best choice because I had a cousin, he said to me, if you're going to sell something, if you're going to be in sales, sell the biggest thing you can find. You'll make more money. And I thought, that's true. Because people who sell airplanes, tanks, and land, and big houses or whatever, small houses, it makes sense rather than selling little pens and things, right? And so that was my beginning. And I was very lucky because I have to thank my first broker because I did a buyer sale within the first couple of days. And it was actually confirmed, like sold firm within less than 2 weeks. And I was kind of like proud walking in the office. And he says, a buyer deal? He goes, go get a listing. You have to be a listing agent. If you're a buyer agent, you're working for the listing agent. I go, okay. Kind of shut me up. And so I started to pounding the phones. I didn't have your data at that time. It was before you guys were around. So I'm pounding the phones and I had a good energy. But one thing I was always scared of is, what if they give me an appointment? Because I was scared of all the data sheets. They scared the hell out of me at real estate school. They said, you got to do the listing contract. That's fine. Sign the contract. There's this big data sheet of everything in the house, every detail and all the code. It's all codes. So I remember prospecting. What if they asked me to come over? Anyway, then the rest is history. And then I began to learn scripts, what to say. And that increased my conversion. So instead of calling, say, whatever the number is, this many people to make an appointment, I now only have to call these people. And then it got to a point where the scripts didn't always work because the customer did not always follow the script. And I realized, number 2 is in the objection handling. It wasn't taking into account the person I'm talking to. I know one person, he's teaching objection handling. I saw his seminar, really good person, great person and great coach. But his objection handler is like bringing data from the Federal Reserve and stuff like that. Because somebody wants a better price and it's at all these graphs, which is fantastic, for an analytical person. But what if it's somebody who's a driver that says, what's the bottom line? I'd go to an appointment. I've got my CMA already prepared. I'm kind of proud of it. I did a really good job on it. I go to some old Italian guy who's a bricklayer or whatever, and he goes, forget about that. How much? I go, where am I all this work? You know what I mean? So I realized there's something beyond that. And then I picked up a book, and it's called Unlimited Power, I think it's called. The Unlimited Power by Tony Robbins. And in that whole book, he talks about the art of persuasion, of not knowing just the script, but the principle behind the script. So now you can be the script creator. And what it reminds me of is the great stand-up comedians like Robin Williams and other people that can actually go with the audience and start flying with the audience. And that's not scripted. And that ability to be quick-witted and engineer conversations unconsciously, because we're not that fast consciously, but we are unconsciously having access to it. It increases your level of persuasion. And I tell people now in my office, about 10 years now, you can ask me any objection anytime. I'm going to the coffee room, going anywhere. I'm going to my car. Anytime you stop me, and I'll handle any objection, any situation on the spot. You'll never catch me out. But I have to thank someone going back. I was at a seminar in Florida, and this person was teaching scripts. It was a 4-day event. And it was really good. Like, the way the manual, But what happened is he said, before we go for lunch, let's do some objection handling. And he walked down the aisle. There's about 700 people. And he was people like flying with people. And it wasn't even what he was teaching in the book, because he was adjusting to the person. And something happened inside the spirit. It woke up, and I actually, in my mind, I stood up. I don't know if I did physically, but in my mind I did. And I said, I want that. I want that ability. It took me 5 years to really do it. And now I can do it as well as anybody. But that's the art of persuasion, which is what I call the art of persuasion, NLP.
And NLP stands for
Neuro-linguistic programming. So I was actually trained by the founders, which is very rare, Richard Bandler and John Grinder, and certified by both, for years. And they certified me personally. I was with Bandler a few weeks ago, and I spent a few days with him. So, personally, right next to him, and I picked their brain. But what I did, I converted it to selling, because the problem with NLP for sales is actually based on therapy. Like all they're mainly therapy based, all the language patterns and whatever. So I had to convert them to selling. That's why it took me 5 years. But the beautiful thing about it is that once you know it, once you can have it, you can handle any objection. You can out-talk anybody because you've got those patterns. And I'm going to introduce a few today.
Absolutely. Yeah. Could you highlight a little bit more of what you just said there? Because that's you said that the art of persuasion is linked to therapy, and how what do you exactly mean by that?
Okay, so what happened is that I'll tell you specifically, Trevor. Great question. Is that NLP, the fundamental foundation of NLP, is actually on modeling. So what they did is Richard Bandler, he went to and John Grinder, they modeled the best therapists. So what would happen is somebody had a phobia, for example, of whatever it was, for one example. And what they would do is they go to like psychiatrist for 20 years or 10 years, nothing happened. And they went to see this person called Dr. Erickson, and he fixed him on one spot or 2 visits. So they went down and visited him. And there's 3 of them, actually, 3. And what they did is they copied the language patterns, like awareness. So the awareness pattern is this. Instead of saying to somebody, the market's really good. If you said that as a salesperson, they go, oh, yeah, sure. What do you expect? You're a salesperson, real estate agent, right? But if you say these words, Tony, or in this case, I'll speak to you, Trevor. Trevor, so are you aware of how good this market is now? You see the difference? Are you aware? So the presupposition behind it is that it's already good. I'm only asking if you're aware of it. You get it? And by the way, if you were to say yes, then I would say that's exactly why I'm calling, with that kind of voice, right? And if you say no, you say that's exactly why I'm calling.
I was going to say, I was about to say, it's like, that's exactly why I'm calling. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
Yeah. Right. So it's called reframing. You're reframing. So I was watching Landman, and somebody comes home and they say, that's a stripper. And then the person corrected them. No, it's an exotic dancer. Right. So it's a reframe of the same thing. It's how you view the situation. So with NLP and persuasion, I went beyond NLP into behavioral science, by the way. But that's my basis, is that you're basically allowing the person to see the situation in a different way, because everything has 2 sides or more. So what happens is you're allowing them to say, this is another way of looking at that. And they go, oh, I never thought about it that way. So that's where the gentleness comes in, the trust, and the opening up for them to actually want to listen to you. A lot of that is actually voice. So one thing I teach is, tonality controls the conversation. Tonality controls the. It's just a good place to be, to learn, and but also the wording, obviously, as well, the pauses. But what we'll do is we'll have someone look at that situation in 2 different ways. Look what happened in the ice, for example, the ice guys, and someone gets killed. There's some people, they'll pass a polygraph test saying that was correct, and the other side will pass a polygraph test and saying that was not correct. So there's always 2 ways. There's not one way. There's no universal truth, you could say, because there's different ways of looking at it. So what we're saying is, did you consider this way to look at this situation?
Yeah. So just kind of from what I hear is that NLP, from connecting to therapy, is we're reframing and restructuring our script and our phrasing to be able to understand the deeper, the concerns and the understanding of truth to the person you're conversing with.
We made a mistake yesterday, and it maybe cost $100, couple $100, right, in a business, like whatever. And then I said to somebody here, actually, I said, the good news is it cost us $200 to learn this lesson. So the next time it happens, when it's $20,000, we fixed it. So I reframed the way a person would look at it. You see, we're doing this all the time. A mother-in-law might do it to a son-in-law, or a parent to a child. So what we're doing, we're looking at it a different way. So let's say a child, it wants to do their homework, and the parent saying, if you've done your homework, the child may see it as, you're bothering me again. But another child might say, wow, my parents really care. They want me to do well, which is not that common, right?
Yes.
Point of view. But you see what happens?
That was not my reaction.
But we, as a parent, though, we have that perspective. So what if we could have the child understand that, right? Not that easy, by the way. But what if we could? You see what happened? We're changing the way I can do it myself. I don't need an agent. So what if we could have them realize, maybe I do need an agent. So my system's different. Like last year, I broke the world record because there's people who say the code to FSBOs, and they're taking like 20 FSBOs in a year. Last year, personally, I took 114 for sale by owners last year listed. So what I'm telling you is that this stuff works. It's ridiculous. I went into Mike Ferry's prospecting school. I broke their record in history in 2 days. And I even took half of the second day kind of easy. And if somebody breaks it, I'll go back and beat them again. So this stuff works.
So 114, your office was able to transact 114 FSBOs.
Yeah, my personal listings, yeah.
Your personal was able to transact 114. So
that's because I focused on that, because you focus on something, and then what happens? Your reticular activity starts seeing it everywhere. Like you get a Jeep, are you looking to get a Jeep, and suddenly Jeeps are everywhere, and you go, what happened? I thought there weren't that many around. So it's like you get obsessed with this thing, because the mammalian brain, it starts saying this must be important. It starts noticing it. So right now we're deleting a lot of things. That's that thing where you close your eyes, you open your eyes, you look around, you close your eyes, and they say, how many things were blue? And you go, I don't look at anything. And you open up, there's like 20 things that are blue right in front of you. That experiment they do. So we're always deleting things, right? So we want to make sure the person who's selling privately sees things that they didn't see before, and sees things in the way that they never saw it before, which takes that rapport, that gentle kind of conversation where they're relaxed, because we've got to also protect something called autonomy. People have an autonomy and a sovereignty within them. So the conversation has to allow for that rather than pushing people, right? Now, I can push people as much as anybody. There's a time when you do that, when you take direct control. There is a time. But in the initial conversation, you want to, what you want to do is create a sense of safety and comfort. And safety is the key word. Because, see, the real influence isn't in the frontal cortex. That's a reasoning part. The one that makes decisions, they say emotions. In neuroscience, they would say it's a mammalian brain, the one that's been around for 1 million years, and which it understands sensations and visuals. So storytelling can create emotion as well. Because I see other people teach scripts. I teach scripts, dialogues, analogies, storytelling.
Right.
So scripts and dialogues. I have a lot of dialogues, not just scripts.
Yes.
And people ask me, can you give them to me? But I don't give mine free. They're too valuable. Yeah. They're too valuable to give free. I might do some toned down ones. I was thinking of it for marketing purposes. It's still better than what you'll see out there, I guarantee. Ask anybody that I train. But my other ones are dangerous. They're really dangerous, because what I've done, I keep pushing the edge. So people pre-qualify right before they go on a listing appointment. And one question you want to say is, are you talking to any other agents, right? By the way, you want to do that with an upswing. We'll get into that later. You want to...
With upswing.
Well, let's get into that then. There's 3 tonalities. There's 3 tonalities when we speak. So there's one which is an upswing, and we don't want to be speaking in an upswing normally. So this is an upswing. Richard Duggal, I'm a really good agent. You should list with me. I'll take care of you. It brings it into question. And you may have someone in your office that actually speaks like that. So you'll notice they speak on the up. And what that does is it makes a person look like they're questioning themselves. So it means no authority, not to be trusted. Does that make sense? Like the way
Oh,
I
no, absolutely, yes. When you
okay.
said you say that with an upswing intentionally, that's what piqued my curiosity.
Yeah, you don't want to do that, but people do it normally, so you want to get rid of that.
Yes.
But I'll show you how to use it in a second. So let's
Absolutely.
say someone goes, "Marry me." It sounds good. What? They're wondering themselves, right? Anyway,
aside from the other guy.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So watch this then. So then you have neutral, which is how I'm talking right now. But there's sometimes when you want authority, you want to learn to speak in a downswing, like even with questions sometimes, right? Like, when do you plan on moving? How long have you lived at this address? All right. Well, this is Richard. I'm with EXP. I will take care of you. I'm here to take care of you. I care about you, and I want you to do well. See, that's authority. So we want to practice that. The downswing, when we want to make an emphasis and we want to have authority. Now, when you do an upswing, it's when you want to discount the idea. You know, so Trevor, are you planning to interview any other agent for the job of selling your home? Right. See what I mean? I discounted the idea, right?
Yes.
Right. So that's all. But we can go into that in more detail. You know, I do trainings on that. But that's an idea. But definitely, if you're finding yourself even using a lot of upswings in your normal conversation, it will be a good idea to stop that and start, correct it.
Let me ask you this. So, and I think I got to reiterate this, because 114 transactions in FSBOs on your own, like just you alone in the last year, is a massive numbers by any standard, in my opinion. We hearing back from agents, we get a lot from who are using us. They're having a couple of things that we're hearing, a couple of concerns. We're hearing call reluctance, which is something that we hear no matter how good the market is. We hear call reluctance. We also are hearing we're hearing the new, the current market and concerns and mindset of I don't know, it's a strong buyer's market. How are we able to converse? Where's the opportunity? But your mindset that you just told us, you are able to close. You are being very successful, especially with FSBOs. Agents, he has been on here before talking about his success with FSBOs. He is the master. We have it on the banner at the bottom here to be able to understand how to become a master of NLP through Richard on the banner below. If you want to learn more, go to that website to learn more. But I want to pick your brain as far as your mindset. What is the opportunity that you're helping sellers, whether FSBOs, expireds, or non-listed? What is the mindset that you're trying to help them through NLP or through persuasion of the opportunity that's
exactly. Yeah. So what you'll find is with my NLP, because I've seen other people, I just saw someone on a video and they go it's very highfalutin, theory. It's okay, well, I'm sure it's very good. But if you notice, when I teach it, it's very practical on the street. Like what I just taught about the upswing, downswing, because I converted it. I spent a lot of time, torturous time. I'm talking about writing sentences every day, 15 a day. 7, not 7. It only was 7 because I didn't do my 15, so I sometimes catch up. But my outcome, not a goal, I actually did it. I'm spending an hour a day just writing sentences. So I spent a lot of time. So I'll give you very practical ideas here. So sometimes we learn by actually the unconscious mind learns best by contrast. So let me, and it kind of remember that people don't remember facts. They remember stories. At one time there was no.
Agents need to write that down. Need to write that down. Okay.
Yeah,
say that. You got to say that. Sorry. Yes.
Yeah.
Continue.
So remember, at one time there was no printing press. So cultures continued because the grandfather would be talking in the fire to the grandchild about the tribe and stories to keep those cultural rules and religions. Think about that thousands of years ago. But through story, even the 10 Commandments is through a story. It doesn't say 10 facts, no adultery, number 7 or whatever it is. It tells a story, Moses, the burning bush. It sticks in your brain. So I'll tell you this story. I was in this office. It's my first year, I believe. It was pretty early on. And I just overheard a conversation, and somebody came in, and they're going, they go, "What, that guy you went to see? Did you get the listing?" And this gentleman said, older than me that time, and he said, "No, the guy's too smart. He's going to sell privately." And even I knew that. I go, that doesn't make any sense. Then how can you go with full conscience after a FSBO when you think, are you thinking that people who sell privately that you end up listing are dumb? You can only get the dumb ones. Like, you see the mindset. It was shocking to me. I came from a sales background, right? I sold all my life encyclopedias. I sold vacuum cleaners. Vacuum cleaners where you're paying about a month and a half in it's a lot of money. Let's put it that way. Like, you had to get financing. You couldn't pay cash for it. It was $1,500 at that time, long time ago, 35 years ago. So there's a little thing called TriStar. It was a small one too, metal though. So anyway, I used to compete against Filter Queen. At least Filter Queen looks big and curvy, but in the same price, by the way. So I had a lot of sales experience. Instinctively, it didn't make any sense. See, I believe in my heart of hearts. Good line, by the way, heart of hearts. You can use that in your language. And my heart of hearts in your persuasion language is that they're making a big mistake. But also I forgive them, you see, because I realize that they don't know any better. So one of my universal thoughts, a Duggal effect thought, is that people make decisions that according to the information they have up to the point of that decision. Meaning, if new information comes, they may or may not make a new decision, but they may. So the person that goes into like a dealership will go Chrysler again, Jeep, and he walks in, he goes, "I like this car, Mr. Salesman, but I'm looking for Volvo because I need that safety because my wife's not a good driver. She's got the kids." That's it, because that's his information. But what if the person who's selling the Jeep brings in new information? He goes, "I understand, Trevor. There's no doubt that Volvo has a reputation and the namesake of safety." See how I agreed with you? And I wasn't being manipulative, because they do.
They do.
And I say, the one thing to consider is the truck division is actually made in South Korea. And if we look at the JD crash reports, if I may, if you look, and this is the heads, the mannequins that they put in the front. What happened is number one is BMW. See, I didn't say number one's me. I know that's like 50,000 more, not in the market. I already know that, but I'm talking to you. See how it's more believable? See how we're building trust? And I said, number two, really close. It's almost within, the same margin, was actually the Jeep Cherokee. And this particular, watch the voice, and this particular Volvo is down 4. The heads went missing. They went flying. See? So I gave you and go, "Oh, I didn't realize that." So now one of the secrets of persuasion is giving people permission to change their mind while having them maintain their ego, the sense of self and sovereignty and autonomy, as I say. Because the person now will feel intelligent changing their mind. Do you get it?
Yes.
Yeah. Rather than I twisted him, I pressured him. And I didn't even, in this case, I didn't close him. And this is where amateur NLP overtrain tie downs. Because when you do that tie down, I would have lost a bit of trust, like I'm doing something to you. Would I say, "Does that make sense?" I don't need to say it. That's an amateur NLP trainer that would be teaching that. I just leave it there. And what I say, write this down, I let it land. Sometimes you got to let things land. Because the reason why we have to do tie downs and continue talking is we're nervous. The salesman's nervous, like, "I hope you get it." And that's coming from a sense of neediness inside the salesperson without them knowing until I bring it up and you go, "Maybe it is." But that sense of composure is a secret word, by the way. If you want to make a lot of money and like magically make more money, like magically, increase your composure. So what happened is that it's his decision, but it's so obvious. And we went back to contrast. We got to sell by contrast. It's one of the biggest things we need to be doing, to sell something when it needs more persuasion. Not every time, but don't ignore it when you need it. So you see, what happens is the FSBO, I say to myself, I've actually said it to myself a long time ago, just once, but I'll share it. I said, you know what? I sold vacuums, I sold encyclopedias, I sold goals, I just sell memberships, Gold Gym, door to door in industrial units with no appointment for 3 years. Like, and I had a team, I had 40 guys in my office at one time doing it. We used to walk in cold and sell memberships. Not, you see, because people go, I'm a good salesman, I'm in my gym. Well, try getting out on the street in the industrial plaza and walking behind into the factory door when they're making cookies and they've got hats on. You can't really go there, but you see them and you go in the food area. I've done all that stuff, right? I've been up and down skyscrapers in Toronto with security guys running after me. Eventually you get caught. Someone's, you know what I mean? But I was smart because the other guys, you know what they do? I'm telling you, I'm just smart. I'm just saying it. Is that they go to the top floor and work their way down. And I figured out they catch you because someone goes, there's a guy here selling stuff. And the security, and they know that, right? They go, okay, he's here, he'll be down there. They follow you. So I went random. I went boom, boom, boom.
There you go.
Sorry, yeah, like, and then when they caught me, I had a great line. They didn't know what to do. Well, one of them, I was in Niagara Falls. I'll give you, this is a good one. And it's a long story, but basically they came and they go, you can't sell things here. I went to the people who work at the store, not the people. And I said, the guy goes, you can't do that here. I was selling gold and gold plated. And I said, I don't know. I said, they dropped me off. I said, I'm a pawn. I'm just a pawn. And I had this card. They just dropped me off. I just started this company. And he goes, okay, get out of here. Don't come back. Okay, good. But I made my money. So, and the other thing, talking about mindset, I had a different mindset. I wasn't even that nervous. You know why? I future-paced myself. I was doing NLP before NLP. You could say, they'd like to take the credit, I guess. I said to myself, I'm going to work this building and I'm going to get caught. So let me make as much money as possible before I do. And it brought that level of, you know what I mean? Does that make sense? But the other guys were on the edge. I could feel it, you know, when you see them, like running around, panicking. And I'm just like, I'll get caught anyway. And what's the worst that's going to happen? So you future pace yourself. Same thing as calling it prospecting. You already know that you're not going to get, there's going to be 10 people. They're going to say no, blah, 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 blah. And eventually you might get a good one. So, but I'll teach you something that I wish someone taught me to call FSBOs that would help people on this call, by the way. It's very simple because that's what I want. You see, people don't want to study psychology and all that. If they want, believe me, come to me and I'll teach you. But I like selling. Everything is related to getting on the street and selling because I'm still selling. There's a lot of people who are classroom teachers that don't actually sell, sounding very clever. They go, why do you send me your prospecting calls so I can hear you calling a FSBO? I'm the only coach I know of, unless Trevor, you can correct me, because if anyone could, you would. I'm the only coach that sends their clients my weekly prospecting calls. They can actually hear them. Sometimes it's a full call, like 12 minutes, where the person goes, no, okay, thank you. And then they tell me their life story. I can't get them off the line. Although one I just sent recently was passive versus active marketing with the real customers. You can actually hear the other end. You can't beat that kind of training, right? So in this case, there's three things. So it's just simplistic. But like I said, we want things we can use today to make money, not just to feel intelligent. Wouldn't you agree, Trevor?
Absolutely.
You know, so that they continue getting those leads from you and closing them. So this is one thing that I wish someone taught me. So when they come in the office here, I train the office. I'll write on the board. They go, there's three types of FSBOs. There's ones that they don't want to talk to you, get lost. No soliciting, whatever, right? B, there's people who want to talk to you because they're trying to sell you the house. They want me to get you off the phone, but they're trying to say, bring a buy, I'll pay you. Have you seen my pictures? I did this, did that. And you're talking to them in like 3 minutes and you can't even get a question in. Those kind of people, because they're telling you, so they're willing to talk to you, but they're nowhere near want to sell with you unless, you know, by listing with you. Just bring a buyer, but they're willing to talk. And I said, there's a third category, which they actually are thinking, maybe another week. I'll give it 2 more weeks before you even call. Or I'm interviewing agents right now or I'm looking for an agent. And the reason I tell that, I've noticed it gives them more confidence when they call, because they've already future paced themselves the way I did going up those skyscrapers or those shopping malls. It's already knew what's going to happen. So you know what happens when you call like that? You go, oh, okay, it's one of those. It's one of those like don't want to talk to me. Doesn't mean you can't convince them. I'll call them back in a week later. Of course you want. But at least you go, oh, okay, I'm right on track. I'm on track. And I don't even tell people what the percentage is. I just leave that to whatever happens. There's no pressure in the word. Look, because then they'll say, whoa, whatever. So I don't give them any way out. I just say that. But knowing this gold, panning for gold, knowing there's gold, you just keep searching. And you'll get those lucky ones. Like I'm calling some people sometimes. They go, oh, we listed already. Let's say on a Saturday morning, right? I go, really? You only put the ad in yesterday, didn't you? Vulcan only sent, whatever, yesterday. And they'll say, yeah, we put it in, and a guy came this, whatever, last night and listed it. I just thought I'd try it for a day, just see what happened. I get that a lot. Many, I don't know how many, but over my career, I've got those a lot where they just put it in for a day. So why won't you call that number that Vulcan's giving? Why won't you call it? It doesn't make any sense. What if it's easy? What if everybody else is thinking, why call it? And there's so much idiotic advice out there. Hope you don't mind me saying. I'm English, so I'm very straightforward. Like, don't call FSBO when they first come out. They've got to know. Why when you doesn't make it? I just proved it doesn't make any sense. There's a lot of sayings out there that I can crush them in an argument within just a few seconds, like, and by real evidence. If you want the truth, I'll tell you the truth about selling because I'm doing it every day. And I'm the only person, like there's a companies like Mike Ferry, for example. I'm the only person in the history of Mike Ferry in 51 years. Some people don't live to 51 years, unfortunately. That's a long time. I'm just right, using NLP there to show. So it's 51 years. And I'm the only person where they play my live prospecting calls on the stage at the superstar retreats. And nobody else. Why do you think? There must be a reason. But I also know that I couldn't have got this far without my own mentors. Because a good coach will save you 10 years. And in my case, maybe 100. Because I teach things that no one teaches. Ask any of my clients. Like, they blow your mind. Like, yeah.
Do you, because there's a ton in there, and you got a lot of confidence, but and I loved your analogy with the as a car salesman, like giving the different facts. So in order to be able to create stories and to be able to use NLP, you got to know facts. You've got to know your market.
You got to know your business.
You got to know your business really, really well.
No shortcut. Yeah. That's true.
So,
thanks for saying that, Trevor.
Absolutely. And so go into a bit of just some brass right now. And if with all of you've been in the industry for over 20, 25 years, at least. And to this day, are you do you still have routine of being able to update and better understand your market? And if you do, how does that look like?
Well, there's things that that someone might be surprised at, especially in my town. So you got to know the rules. You know where to go to the edge. So there's a great manager, Mr. Cox, Jack Cox. I'll mention his name. Because he taught me something early on. He goes, you got to know the rules. Because let's say the rules of your market are this, things you can do, do not call list, whatever, all that stuff, right? They're that big, let's say. If you don't know the rules, you're going to be operating at this level because you're scared of making a mistake. But if you know the rules, you can go right to the edge and you can actually correct agents. And when they bring you offers like satisfactory financing, and I say, no, we're not going to accept that to protect your client, right? We need to know from the bank, I want a letter and whatever. So that confidence, and agents will say, oh, you can't do that. When you have a lot of listings, you're dealing with a lot of agents, and you go, without making them feel wrong, you just say, actually, the law just changed. So when the MLS comes out, I'm looking at the new rules all the time, all the updates. And I look at it as an advantage, actually. And you might think, isn't that boring? Richard, don't you like selling? Yeah, I like selling. But like you said, Trevor, you got to know your business. And a lot of people think, I just learn a script. I don't need to know about financing or mortgage or probate. But you see, if you know about probate, you know the law, and you talk, people know, right? I was looking for an extra space yesterday, and I won't mention the company, but the girl didn't know what she was doing. I said, how big is it? Oh, let me look at it. And she goes, 97 feet, and it's also this many and this many meters. How can you put both in one? I guess you had the receptionist doing it. You're confusing me. And she said, I don't know. And this is yesterday. I'm thinking, you got to know your product. Just when you're going to buy a transistor or a TV, it gives you confidence. Yeah. But I hope that helps. Like now you're going to call, you go, oh, I'm on track. Somebody told me to get lost. I'm on track. Someone says, can't you see that the sign that my ad, I used to call classified ads before you guys. Thank goodness you came along. So I had to look in the newspaper, right, in the old days, and it said no agent. And he goes, can't you read? It says I have no agent. It says no realtor. And I go, Mr. Johnson, that's actually why I'm calling, because you said you have no realtor.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant.
Yeah. So what happens is that's called, I have a special thing. It's a Duggal prosecutor system, because whatever you say can and will be used against you. And that's from me in England watching a black and white TV, because we only had 2 channels, BBC and ITV. And then BBC 2 came in and go, whoa, a new channel. And they're playing the Beatles and all that at that time on the radio. Yeah, I remember that.
Well, that's good. So honing on this, because I know we have agents here who they just got their real estate license within the last 12 months. And then we have agents, brokers, and people who've been in our community for almost as long as we've been around. So we got agents here from all spectrums. Now, we talked about how being able to understand your market, and you're talking also about how to be able to work with persuasion and be able to hone your scripts without them focusing too. Like, I feel like there's agents who start where they feel like they need to know everything before they make their first call, and then they don't start any business because they're too worried they don't know enough. And then there's others who, like you just shared, they're starting to make calls, but they don't have any care for being able to understand their market and their stuff. What do you find is like the balance? And like, could you give us like maybe like a anecdotal routine or like something that can help them? Like, hey, both are important. How do you build that?
I actually can share. I made a post, like a very nice post of my actual schedule prospecting. It's called $1 Million Schedule. It's my personal one. I should probably share that here. It's free. I'll just share it. And I made a video, a short video, a short intense video where they can actually see it. But your business is only as good as your schedule. So there's a person called, I forgot his name, Fry. And he was like selling a lot of homes. People used to surround him at the seminars to pick his brain. Like, you'd have a crowd around him. And I remember once, and he's from Mexico originally. He's got a great story how he came over from a train, underneath a train. Anyway, so this is a long time ago. Anyway, so next thing you know is he's selling a hell of a lot of homes, prospecting. And they're asking me secret. And I'm telling you, there's layers. You can't hardly hear him. So in the breaks, right, for good reason, the guy's a legend. Anyway, so, and then he says something. I remember once being there, around there, that area, and I said, oh, it's Fry, my friend. And there's people around him. And people were saying, what's your secret? What is it? How do you get so many? And he whispers something, because he's very soft-spoken, right? He goes, very like a gentleman type of thing. He goes, shh, like that. And then he goes, what is it? Say it again. He goes, schedule. He goes, what do you mean? He goes, I follow my schedule. And I know people personally who've gone to shadow him, because he allows people to shadow him. And when somebody was in his office, and it may sound crazy to other people, they're not used to this kind of thinking, but he made his appointment to prospect more important than a listing appointment. because without that, he would never do it. Somebody actually walked in and he told the secretary to send them back. In a nice way, but send them back. I'm prospecting with no appointment because somebody was with him in the office. So I'll share that. I'm going to see if I can share it in the comments. But one thing that would help, I'll tell you what happens is that when you're new, get to know the market really strongly. Go and inspect properties and whatever. And so when you go there, you know all the stats, you know what's going on. And that gives you credibility because you'll have see, people who've been around a long time, you know what they say? Oh, you need to list at this house, this price. Because they have that confidence, right? And they don't even bother to even do a CMA. I know, because they kind of size it up. So when you go in with the proper documents, let's say you've visited some of those properties that are, I know it's a bit of extra effort, but it is a lot of money we're talking about. But you put that extra effort and really study it. So what I used to do is when I first came in, I used to look at the listings without the picture, without the actual price and guess how much it's listed for. I go, well, that's not good enough. It could be overpriced. Then I learned to look at the solds and I would guess it. So I'd guess, and you get better and better. You go, oh, that was wrong. But then you go, it's sold for this, around this price, bang, it's sold. So you train yourself to become obsessed with that. Number two, get obsessed with the scripts and handling objections. That because that will give you confidence. Because knowledge equals confidence, and ignorance equals fear.
I love that because I think that it hits home because when you have knowledge, you have confidence and full understanding of the market that you're currently working in.
Yeah, people can tell.
And when the trends change, or like if the market changes, it turns more from a buyer's to a seller's market, whatever the shift is, if you have knowledge, that is bringing true confidence. And so it's not just a mental hurdle to be able to figure. This is actually building you genuine confidence in reassuring your clients that how to be able to help take care of them.
Yeah, so those new people, schedule and learn your scripts. Other things too, but those two, they'll give you confidence. Because see, somebody won't go to a FSBO, for example, driving by the agent. I've seen it. And why? One of the main reasons why is they don't know what to say. Because you go, why don't you go out to the door? I don't know what to say. Like the guy, he's selling privately. And then I'll give him a script. No joke, like it's real. I give them a script and they'll go, oh, that's no problem. I can do that. I just say that. Even if it says no realtor, as you know.
And on top, Candace, who's been a great member of our community for a long time. She gave a great comment in the comments section. I previewed properties when active, and it's helpful if the property expires when you see the inside. It helps me connect with sellers to get that appointment. How true is that? I mean, absolutely. How true is that?
Good job, man.
Absolutely. Well, we're coming up to like the last 10 minutes, Richard.
About 5 minutes left. I'm going on an appointment, listing appointment.
Okay, very good. Well, then, how about what we'll do this is if we'll leave up for one question in the comment section. If there's one question that you can quickly address with an agent, if you have something that we've covered, something either like an objection to be able to help. If you're getting a common objection, something that Richard can be able to help give his.
But one of them that I get is that because I have listings all over, I got about 20, 30 anytime right now. So
yes,
is that a local? I need a local agent, but anybody else has got one, whatever. Yeah.
No, I think actually, yeah, you talked about. I'm looking for a local agent. Let's cover that because that one is. I mean, you're the one who's getting that objection so much, so I know it's going to be helpful. So if we could quickly role play that for 30 seconds.
Sure, whatever you want.
And we could wrap it up. Yeah. So
whatever objection you've got in there, whatever.
No, I'm looking for a local agent.
Yeah. So let's say in this case that you're considering me, right? But the thing is that's the one that will make the difference. But I got to overcome this thing. In your mind, I'm not overcoming anything because you want a local agent. You're just telling me.
Yes.
So why do we role play?
Yeah, let's do it.
So I'll act as if I'm getting the listing, right? I'll try to assume it. I'll go, and then you tell me that. Yeah, that's the stopper. That's the stopper of me getting it. And if you don't know, that's why learning the skills, it's all profit. because you're making money without spending money, without any more time. I actually spend less time per appointment than most people. And so I love skills because it's what makes you profit. Profit is all from skills. The lower your skills, the more you have to spend to make the same amount of deals, basically. More energy, time. So anyway, so let's play with that. So Trevor, let's go ahead. Let's get the ball rolling so we can get you to acting for all the reasons that are important to you.
Yeah, yeah. Listen, everything sounds nice. I mean, talking to my wife, we're just we're looking for someone who is just a bit more local. It's a bit more convenient to be able to get in contact with. So, you're from seeing where you're at, we're looking for someone just more in geographically in our range, and someone's a bit more local who probably understands us better. So
I appreciate that. So yeah, because you mentioned someone you can be in contact more as well. That's important too, isn't it? Is that's what you mentioned? Is that right? Yeah,
exactly. So, someone that we were like come in contact, we can easily get a hold of.
I understand. Trevor, let me ask you a question. If I have a sign on the lawn, will I get the calls anyway? Like, does it really matter where I'm from? Because the signs on the lawn, will it make any difference? I'll still get the call, correct?
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, so exactly. And if I'm on MLS, will the local agents know about the property? And right?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
And remember, they get paid the same whether whether. Right? It doesn't matter to them. They want to either sell it or not sell it.
Yeah, that's true.
You see, what I'm going to do is I'm going to expose your property to areas outside your area, to buyers who don't live in the area. And those buyers, many of them don't know how good this area is. I actually call this area one of the secrets in the town, because people don't realize what we've got here, the schools, the lake, right? It's almost like a secret. So we got to get the word out there. So what I'm going to do, as you mentioned, I'm going to get the local calls anyway, right? I'm going to get the local agents. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring in buyers from outside the area. Are you beginning to realize how important that kind of exposure is if you want the best price possible?
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. Yeah. Expanding out the area can give us
exactly. And there's a saying, it's a law in real estate. It's actually a law whether you're in Canada, the United States, or in Egypt. And this is the law. The further a buyer comes from, the more they pay. The further a buyer comes from, the more they pay. Let me ask you, who's buying swampland in Florida? Is it the guy who lives there? Or the guy from Canada or from another place? Does that make sense? So we're not only going to get the local exposure, but we're going to get the. And what I'm going to do is to make this comfortable for you is I'm going to give you my cell number right here. You see this number? Do you have a pen? You want to write it down?
Yeah, I can write it down. Absolutely.
Right. And you can call me whatever you want in your business model. Like, you can call me every single day if you want, 7 days a week. I love to hear from you. You can text me, call me. I'm here to get you a complete communication. In fact, if you remember, you mentioned to me the reason why I'm sitting here is that you said that no one called you more. No one was persistent. Remember you said that when I came? You said that, come on over, you're driving me crazy. Are you beginning to understand that communication is important to me too? Great.
I understand that. Yeah, no, that makes sense. Yeah.
Absolutely. Let's get the paperwork done because we've got to be enacting with your mother and father, correct? Great. Let's get the ball rolling.
Okay. All
right.
I was being a very easy one because we are wrapping up. So I'm sure there's
like look at my tape. You think you were being easy because I put you in a trance. So listen to my prospecting tapes. I'll send you some. And you'll notice that people do exactly what you did even on the phone. They get quiet and they pause. Because one thing I teach my clients is how to speak in a rhythm too. You speak in and out of a rhythm like normally, then you begin to speak in a rhythm. And I train them with a metronome. Like I mentioned, there's things that people no one's teaching in persuasion. Because there's things that I teach that they're not available on Google. In fact, I have a saying that 51% of the things I teach to my clients, I challenge them, you can't find it on Google. You can't Google it. Thank you. A great call today, Trevor, as usual.
That's amazing. agents,
Yeah.
if this is something that's really resonated with you, and I mean, speaking for myself, I was able to learn and be able to grasp so much after years of my personal experience in the sales industry. Follow Richard, follow him on Instagram. It's just Richard Duggal on Instagram. You can follow him there. But also, if you're interested more in his NLP persuasion in school and class, be able to look at that website in the banner below.
Right.
Agents,
in the chat,
we have these
types
types.
in the chat. Yeah, too.
Yeah, you put it in the chat as well. Yes.
Yeah.
So we'll be able to check there on the chat. Agents, this is another example of the type of masterclass trainers and brokers, instructors, influencers in the industry that we're able to bring here. Richard, thank you again. I'm going to let you get to your next appointment.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah. And you've got some great trainers and coaches coming on here. I've seen them. You know, look at everyone. There's some good material, good people to watch.
Agents,
yeah.
We're going to be able to be successful. Exactly, Richard. And yes, Austin, we will get you, everyone who attends will be able to get a copy of this recording. So, Richard.
I didn't get a chance to go through my language patterns, like if and then. It's not about X, it's about Y. I got a whole compound sentences, but we'll do that next time.
Absolutely. That's exactly what we're going to look forward to is the next one. So agents, be able to look forward to our next topic with the next time with Richard. But as we say at Vulcan 7, live long and prospect. Thank you, everybody.